welcome to Darvanalee Design Studio. My name's Nicole Reed. Thank you very much for joining me today. And for those that are new here, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and that way you won't miss out on any future posts. So you might be wondering what I'm going to be making this week. Well, this week I had my Quilters planner come in, as most people here in Australia are just starting to receive theirs, and I decided that I was going to get some of my Tallulah pink fabric that I've been hoarding and actually make a cover for it. And the measurements that I'm going to use today will fit your Quilters planner, but the technique that I'm using to get those measurements you can use for any diary or any journal that you want to make it for. I'm even making one for the mini Quilters planner that I pop into my handbag, so I've got, you know, my swatches of fabric and all that sort of stuff. Last year it got damaged, so this year I'm going to be on top of it and I'm going to make a cover, so they'll be both matching. And everything that I make on here is out of the Tallulah pink except for the lining. So let's get started. Okay, so I have written up all the instructions and all the measurements that you need, and they're over on our blog. I'll put a link down below where you can find that. There are a few other things that you're going to need today. You're going to need some wonder clips, a tape measure, some pins, a ruler, a pair of scissors, a rotary cutter, a charcoal pen, and a walking foot if your machine doesn't have a built-in one. You're also going to need some fusible fleece, some Shapeflex 101, your Quilters planner, and that is about all you're going to need today. So we're going to get started on making our cover for our Quilters planner. So basically off camera I've actually done a few things. I've got the fusible fleece and I've attached that to the outside, what is going to be the outside of my planner, and I've also put the Shapeflex 101 or Vilene soft iron-on, and I've put that to the lining, and I've also put the Vilene onto the flaps, which will go over the cover of our planner. So you're going to need 2 of those. Okay, so you're going to take your tape measure and you're going to line it up on the front cover on the edge, and then you're going to take the measurement all the way around, including the ring binder part of the planner, and you're going to measure it around to the other side, and it works out to be 19.5. So again, I'll just show you how to do that again. You just plop it on here. You can use a wonder clip to hold your tape in place if you need to. Okay, I've got a really long one today, so it's sliding around on me. Okay, so basically you just wrap it around and you come around to the other side on the back, and that ends up being 19.5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to add 3/4 of an inch onto that, so that will give you a measurement of 20.25 inches. Then what we're going to do is, so we write that measurement down, and then we're going to take a measurement from the top edge to the bottom edge of our planner, and it works out to be just on 10 inches, and we're going to again add 3/4 of an inch to that, so that will become 10 3/4. For our pockets, or the flaps, so where the cover goes into the journal cover, we're going to take a measurement. Now I took a measurement of 7 inches. Okay, so it's just going to stop just about there. Okay, and that's enough of it to be in there to hold it on. So then what we do is we've taken that 7 inches and we're going to double that to give us 14 inches, and then we're going to add 3/4 of an inch onto that as well. So that is going to give us a measurement of 14 3/4, and then you're going to have the measurement of 10 3/4 for the height of it. So what will happen with that is we write those measurements down, and that's what I've done. Over here I've got my lining, which is measuring the same as my exterior, which was 20.25 by 10 3/4, and my flaps, which I've created here, are 14 inches by 10 3/4. And as you can see, I've put the interfacing on them and I've folded them in half and given them a press, and they'll just get added just like so. You're also going to need something to tie it with. Okay, so I've just created with my leftovers, I've created a couple of ribbons, so to speak, made out of the same fabric. So all you do with those is just fold them in half lengthwise and then bring your raw edges into that crease, as you can see here, and then give it a good press, fold it over on itself, and then you'll just top stitch that close and they'll become our ribbons. And they measure 2 inches by 14 inches. And then we've also got some binding, because we'll end up with a bit of a raw edge. So these are 7 inches by 2 inches as well, and you'll need 2 of those, and they're just folded in half like so. And I'll show you how to put them on in a moment. All right, so we can take our quilters planner away for now, and now we're going to start on the quilting. So you're going to take your lining fabric and your fused exterior fabric. Now I've just used fusible fleece on mine. You can use wadding or you can use fusible fleece. It's entirely up to you. So we're going to place them wrong sides together, and we're going to get a couple of pins and pin that in place. Now I'm not too fussed about my quilting here. I'm just going to be doing some straight line quilting, and all I'm going to do is grab my quilting ruler and my charcoal pen. Now, if you're concerned in any way about your quilting or anything like that, you can make this piece bigger and then cut it down. I didn't want to do that. I've just left it as it is. And basically all I'm going to do is get my, this is a 1-inch ruler. And all I'm going to do is, starting from the corner, no measuring, just going to make some marks. And as you can see, that's how easy it is. These charcoal pens are great for this. They've got the little wheel and they just go along. And this is just, you know, like I'm pretty rough with my diary. It's always being picked up and transported and moved and thrown into bags and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that the quilting that I'm doing on it will actually hold up. So I'm just going to do a crosshatch design today. And as you can see, it's that easy. I'm not too stressed about the math behind the crosshatch or anything like that. I'm just using the 1-inch ruler and just sliding that along, aligning on each mark that I make. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is spin it around and go the other way. So again, just lining it up. And these lines just become the guide for me when I start stitching. I'm just going to do straight line stitching. I'm not going to get too hectic on the quilting side of things. Just trying to make it nice and simple, a nice quick project. And the beauty about this, you can reuse this year after year. So there you go. As you can see, that's just going to give me that diamond effect. I'll bring it up a little bit closer and you can see the marks there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to lengthen my stitch up to a 3 on my machine. That would depend totally on your machine on what you want to lengthen that up to. But I like to have my stitches very defined and lengthened for when I'm quilting. And then I'm just going to pin it all together with my lining and my exterior fabric all pinned together, and then I'm just going to follow those lines using them as a guide. And I'm not even too stressed about how many pins I put in because it's only a small piece and I know that it's not going to go anywhere. Making sure that everything is nice and smooth, and I know that it will quilt up quite nicely. So I'm going to head off and do that. Okay, so we've quilted all of our panel, and you can see there I've just used a white thread on mine and it's got that crisscross happening. So now what we're going to do is assemble our journal cover. So you want to find the center of your panel with the right sides up. You just want to fold it in half. It's probably the easiest way to do it. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to place one of your ties in place, and you can use your pin or your wonder clips for that. And I've just top stitched these closed, as you can see here, all the way down. So making sure that your raw edges are all lining up, pop them into place. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go and get your flaps that you've attached your fusible interfacing to, and you're going to press them in half, and that's going to give you a nice clean edge on this side and leave your raw edges over here. So again, aligning all of your raw edges and then clip into place. And repeat with the opposite side. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to get your little binding strips and you're going to align your raw edges, and again you're going to clip them into place at the top and also at the bottom. And these measure 2 inches wide by about 7 inches. Mine are. Okay, so now that that's all in place, what we're going to do is we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around our journal cover, making sure that where you start you reverse and where you finish you reverse as well, and that'll just make it nice and secure. Okay, so there we go, we've pressed it all, made sure that it was all out. I've put a little bit of glue on here just to hold them down until I'm ready to bind that, which I'll do a little bit later, but you don't need to see that today. And basically now it's ready to go onto our quilters planner, and I'll just grab that and I'll show you how it goes on. So you just slide your cover into the flaps that we created, and you will have to wiggle it a little bit, but it'll go in. Making sure it's gone all the way to the end, so you'll have to slide that in there. So that's the front cover, and now to put the back one on. Again, you just bend it up and slide it into there, and it'll just slide in there. There we go. Making sure that you go all the way to the end. Now if it feels a little bit tight, it just means that you haven't gone all the way to the end. So you can see there my back cover hasn't gone and it's bent over, so it's not going to close properly. It'll still close, but you'll feel it a little bit tight, so you'll just have to give it a bit of a wiggle to get it to go in. And that's gone all the way in now, and that's it, our cover's done. So I'll do the last bit of the binding, and you've got your ribbons there to match, and tie them in a bow, and then it's ready for when the new year rolls around. We're ready to go. And as I said earlier, you can do this with any journal cover, any diary. Basically, if you follow those techniques, you'll end up getting the correct measurements that you need, and then you will have a beautiful cover for any diary that you have. I'm going to now head off and repeat that with the mini so it doesn't get damaged like it did last year, and I'll have 2 matching gorgeous little journals, one for my handbag and one for in the office. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you really enjoyed this little tutorial on how to cover your Quilters Planner journal for 2019. I would love to see your creations and your take on it. There's a link down below for our Facebook group where you can upload your photos or ask any questions. I'm always about in there, and if not, one of the moderators will be. If you like this video today, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and that way you won't miss out on any future posts. My name's Nicole Reid for Darvanalee Design Studio, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.